SOH CAH TOA. So we're not doing any Japanese, we are still doing mathematics, right? So we're taking a look at what it's trigonometry and it's solving what for my right angle triangles, right? So a triangle look at so if you're always diagram power paradise, so this means what this angle is a 90-degree angle, right? And for the 90-degree angle, first we need what to label what the sides of what of our triangle, right? So the longest side of a right angle triangle is the hypotenuse, and it is the angle which is what which yakatariswa what ne the right angle triangle edu panapa and it. So if you go here, what can you do is like this 90-degree angle yakaforma, you can extend it like what an arrow like this, right? So kwakatarizwa an arrow edu what that's the what the hypotenuse, which is what the longest side of what of our triangle, right? Oh, so the longest side the hypotenuse, and then with what we have this angle. Those are get my diagrams for my questions, right? So with the 90-degree angle and this angle, which is what adjacent to the 90-degree side, knows what the adjacent, and so this is what the adjacent, and the adjacent, and then with what with this side, which is what which is opposite to this angle, right? This side is what is opposite to this angle. Guess which side the opposite or opposite, and so for solving for the sides and angles of a right angle triangle, we use something called SOH CAH TOA. It's just what it's just abbreviating which talk about, and these are what these are actually what theories. So we can call them maybe theorems that we use, right? So we're saying to find what angle sine. For sine, right, we're going to say what the opposite over the hypotenuse, right? And then for what for cosine or just cos, we're going to say what the opposite the adjacent over what over the hypotenuse right? Then for tan or tangent, just tan, right? We say what we say the opposite over what over the adjacent, right? So for sine and cos, the denominator part pana hypotenuse, and for tan is not what opposite over adjacent, right? So this is what we use, right? So someone came up with what with this abbreviation SOH CAH TOA, right? It's just what abbreviating all of this. So for so it just means what the opposite. So you're saying sine is equals to opposite over hypotenuse, and CAH adjacent over hypotenuse, and for tan opposite over what over adjacent, and it. So in the next session we'll be looking at what it's applying what this SOH CAH TOA to what to solve for different angles. I think it's a pure, right? So let's take a look at what it's equation applying what applying this, and this. So I'll see you in the next session.